Hey, what's up guys? It's Texmer talking to you here. And today, I want to talk about the iPhone 14 Pro Max specifically. Because right now, I own the iPhone 13 Pro Max. And I did a video talking about what changes would I like to see on the iPhone 14 lineup from Apple because of my use of the iPhone 13 Pro Max. But in today's video, I will round up and cover all the leaks coming from all the leakers around the world about the iPhone 14 Pro Max. What should you expect for this Pro Max model, this bigger sized model? Should you wait for the iPhone 14 Pro Max or should you get the iPhone 14 Pro Max instead? So if you are excited, don't forget to drop a like down below in this video and to subscribe to my channel. Turn on the notifications so you keep up with my newest videos. So let's get started. The iPhone 14 Pro Max is going to be released around the September timeline, together with the other iPhone 14s. This is quite important to know because in 2020 we had the iPhone 12s coming in October. It was quite strange and we had a break-up cycle, but that happened because of COVID. Nowadays, Apple has figured out its supply chain and so it's quite okay to have that in line. Because of that, there's no trouble to assume that the iPhone 14 lineup will be coming in September. So that's the first part of information you should know. The iPhone 14 is coming in September. Normally it's announced on the second Tuesday of September and it comes in the last Friday of the month. So I'm expecting these iPhone 14s to come in the September Apple event in 2022. And you couldn't be more excited. So that's at least 9 months until the launch of the iPhone 14s, which leaves us for a question for this video. Should you go for the iPhone 13 Pro Max? Or should you simply wait and buy the iPhone 14 Pro Max 9 months from today? Well, this is a quite different question and quite difficult question to answer because that depends. Are you in a hurry to buy a phone? And if you are, then simply don't wait, buy the iPhone 14 Pro Max. We are still very early in the cycle and the iPhone 14 Pro Max, like I told you in a lot of videos, it's an amazing phone. You won't regret getting it because it has 120 Hz, it has a smaller notch, it has the newest design, it has an amazing color, amazing CPU, amazing cameras, amazing video capability. It's amazing in every single way. And you will probably not regret getting it. But the iPhone 14 Pro Max has escalating to be a quite a different upgrade cycle. Because in today's cycle, we only had 2 iPhones with this design from the iPhone 12s. That's quite strange and Apple is changing up again, going for the iPhone 14s to have a different design than the iPhone 12 and 13s. Because normally we are in a 3-year design cycle. The iPhone 6, 7 and 8. Then we got the iPhone 10, 11 and 10s. So of course now with the iPhone 12 and 13 we're expecting to have another design like iPhone 12. But no, that's different. According to a lot of leakers, and John Prosser was the first one to talk about that, the iPhone 14 will have an amazing newest design. Going retro, going back to the iPhone 4 design. That's kind of cool. It's going to get rid of the camera bump, it's going to have even more battery life and battery capacity, it's going to have a smaller notch, it's going to have a different type of design with the aluminum steel or the steel, depending which model you go for, but there's some rumors saying that Apple will take off the stainless steel from the Pro model and introduce titanium to make the phone even more lighter than it is. Because according to a lot of people, the iPhone 13 Pro Max is too bulky for them. So Apple is trying to reduce the weight by going for a different material, which is still very premium, titanium in this case. It's lighter than stainless steel and it serves the job very well. It's very durable and it's very, very premium. So, of course, if Apple goes for titanium, it's going to be a very different feel and different design to look at. So I think that changing the design for the iPhone 14, it's quite smart for Apple because they don't have a lot of things they can do to their iPhones. And so I think that changing the design, even again, will attract new customers because changing the design just attracts customers every single year if they do that. So again, in my opinion, it's very smart to change the design and even removing the notch, just putting a punch hole camera, putting the Face ID sensors behind the display, or just even like changing a bit the design, making it look like the iPhone 4. Like right now, the steel and the glass, they don't meet. But if you go to see the iPhone 4, the steel and the glass, it's a different thing because the glass like goes over the edge. Right now, the steel covers the edges and the glass just finishes before reaching the edge. But with the iPhone 4, you had a band of aluminum and stainless steel, and then you had the glass going over the edges. So it's a different type of design. It's pretty cool. It was more like a ring instead of the edge. So I think that the iPhone 4 design, it's pretty cool, pretty amazing. One of my favorite designs ever. Although I do think that I do prefer the iPhone 13's design. But if you do like this iPhone 4 design, then just wait for the iPhone 14 Pro Max because it's going to be beautiful. And if you don't like the iPhone 13 because you think that it's too bulky and the iPhone 13 Pro Max is too heavy, too bulky, too big for you, because you know, it is. I have to be honest, it's a big phone, you can feel the weight. Then, of course, if you are not in a hurry, wait for the iPhone 14 Pro Max, wait to see what it comes, and wait if you like if you like the newest design, if you don't like it, and if you don't think that the time comes and you realize you don't like the design, then simply buy the iPhone 13 Pro Max on a discount. But if you are in a hurry, then go for the iPhone 13 Pro Max if you do care about the design, because in my opinion, you shouldn't. Design is more of an aesthetics thing than not a performance thing, and the iPhone 13 Pro Max just performs very, very well. In terms of displays, the iPhone 13 Pro Max does feature 120Hz, so the only thing that Apple can improve with the iPhone 14 Pro Max is efficiency and battery life. So the displays could be more efficient, a little bit brighter, but they won't change a bit because I don't think that Apple will introduce 144Hz. What they could do is introduce 120Hz on the less Pro models, the normal models, but I don't think that will happen. I think that Apple will keep ProMotion a Pro feature, and so I do think that the iPhone 14 Pro Max will have the same display as the iPhone 13 Pro Max ProMotion 120Hz OLED display. Apple won't change their OLED displays for mini LED. It doesn't make any sense to do that when you have OLED, change it for mini LED. If you had LCD, then it made sense to put a mini LED display. But if you have an OLED, it doesn't make any sense to have a mini LED display switched out. Only if Apple brings micro LED. Although Samsung has had a huge advancement with their new technology, I think it's W OLED, so the blues are even better, it's even brighter, the colors are even truer, and it's way more efficient. I don't think that Apple will use it, at least in the next couple of years, because Samsung is very new technology and Samsung takes a lot to scale this technology to Apple's production type of size. So I do believe that Apple will keep the same display as they have on the iPhone 13 Pro Max with a difference. They will have no notch and will have at least a punch hole display for the camera, but their Face ID sensors will be behind the display. So we will have more of a display like the Samsung Galaxy S21 Ultra. So it's going to be Android more like, so if you don't like that characteristic of the phone, then buy the iPhone 13 Pro Max, although I don't care if I have a little bit more screen real estate on the area, because, I mean, let's be honest, having a notch, having a punch hole display, it's the same intrusion, you won't use that area, and that's a dead area anyway. If you watch content there, it will cut out on your content. If you play games there, it will cut out on your games. So I mean, it's quite kind of gimmicky, it's just a thing to change for the sake of change. So this punch hole display on the iPhone 14 Pro Max, although it's different, although I will like it if it's a nice bonus if I buy the iPhone 14 Pro Max, I wouldn't change phones, or I even wouldn't just completely wait 9 months for another phone to come just because of it. So if you really need the iPhone 14 Pro Max, or if you do feel like you want a new phone and you do like the iPhone 14 Pro Max, don't beat yourself just because of the notch. The display, like I told you, will be the same. The differences will be the iPhone 13 Pro Max will have a smaller notch than the current iPhone 12 Pro Max, but the iPhone 14 Pro Max will have an even smaller notch than the current iPhone 13 Pro Max, which in this case won't be a notch, will be a punch hole display. So make your decision on top of that. If you really like less notch, if you really don't like the notch, then just wait 9 months, but it's the thing that you don't care about. The notch is the last thing that you care about. Apple will not give you the percentage of the battery life back because, I mean, they shrunk the notch on the iPhone 13 Pro Max and they haven't given us the battery life percentage. So that's a more physiological thing, less than a hardware thing. So in my opinion, I think that you shouldn't care about the display on the next upgrade. It won't be the focus of the upgrade. I think that this year it was the focus of the iPhone 13 Pro Max, display and the cameras and the battery life. Next year, I think that's going to be just the design and the cameras, of course. Then, in terms of performance, the iPhone 13 Pro Max will feature the A16 chip. This chip will be based on the same 5nm plus system that the iPhone A15 features. So, I mean, it's going to have a little bit more efficient, it's going to be a little bit more powerful, but again, a 10 to 15 to 20% jump in terms of efficiency should be expected, and a little bit more power, like 15 to 20% also But the differences between the A16 and the A15 in everyday use won't be any noticeable than the differences between the iPhone 13 Pro Max's A15 to the iPhone XS A12. Because in my opinion, the A12 is such as fast as the A15 and the A16 will be so as fast as A15. Because, I mean, you have to be in mind that these iOS upgrades and updates, they are very optimized for the slowest iPhone available. So right now, it's the iPhone 6s. The rumors are saying that the lowest available iPhone with the iOS 16 will be the iPhone 7. So the A10 chip, the iOS needs to run as fast on the A10 chip as it runs on the A16 from the iPhone 14 Pro Max. So you won't notice any differences, maybe playing games, maybe exporting photos, maybe editing photos, exporting videos, maybe. But I'm not sure, and you shouldn't upgrade iPhone just because of the CPU. That's a bonus thing you receive when you buy a new iPhone. But again, the iPhone 14 Pro Max will feature the A16. We will only probably see a 3nm or a 4nm the year after, so with the A17 or the A18, we are not sure. But again, Qualcomm is using again their 5nm process for the A16 chip. So in terms of performance, it's going to be negligible and it's going to be probably the same in most tasks or even in most apps and games. In terms of software support, the A15 should get at least one less year than the A16, but with these phones nowadays, they will probably get 8 to 9 years of support. The CPUs are just insanely good, and I don't see Apple dropping support for the A15 or even the A16 anytime soon, like 5, 6, 7, 8 years in my opinion. So again, do not take care for the A15. Do not be afraid buying the A15 right now with the iPhone 13 Pro Max just because it's not the newest CPU anymore. Because of course Qualcomm will release their new CPU now with the S22 Ultra, and so you are thinking, oh god, the A15 is slow now. Don't care about that. Just buy the iPhone. Even the A10 is good nowadays. So buy the iPhone that you really want. Do not wait just because of the CPU or not even the display like I talked about before. So the iPhone 13 Pro Max, in my opinion, it's still the best option today for CPU power, efficiency power. But if you really want to wait for the iPhone 13 Pro Max, expect some negligible gains in terms of, for example, 15% in terms of efficiency, a little bit more battery life, probably, if it keeps the same cells and the same power drainage, and a little bit more performance. So with the A16, you will get that, but do not expect huge gains like 3 to 4 hours of battery life. No, expect probably half an hour more of battery life or even one to stretch it out. Talking about battery life, the iPhone 13 Pro Max, as you know, is the champ for 2021. But of course, the iPhone 14 Pro Max is expected to increase the cell size on their iPhones. So this means that we are expecting an even better battery life with the iPhone 14 Pro Max. This is cool because nowadays the battery is almost everything. If you have a good battery, you can have an amazing 120Hz display, you can have an amazing powered camera, you can have even brighter displays, you can have everything you want to, because battery life just is essential for all of these things. If your phone can run for 2 days, that's great. But if it could run for 3 days, that's even better. And that's one of the things that I'd say. The iPhone 13 Pro Max has an amazing battery life. It's the best battery life on a phone ever. But if Apple brings a bigger battery to the iPhone 14 Pro Max, then good, great, that's great. I do really want to pay for that, because if the battery is as good as they are saying and the battery games turns out to be amazing, then it's worth it to upgrade for the iPhone 14 Pro Max. Now, if Apple brings a big cell and it makes the iPhone too bulky, that's the downside. But of course, a bigger battery means a brighter display, means better camera technologies, means better everything, better performance, less heat drawn by the CPU, which in point will increase the brightness of the display. So, of course, if you are happy with your iPhone 13 Pro Max, or you don't care about battery life and you are okay with a 1 day to 2 day phone, which 99.9% are, then the iPhone 13 Pro Max's battery life, as you know, the best ever in 2021, it's just good enough for you, and you should buy the iPhone 14 Pro Max just because of their battery life increases. So if you have the iPhone 13 Pro Max right now, surely don't make you upgrade for the iPhone 14 Pro Max, and do not advise you. But if you are indecisive between waiting or buy the iPhone 13 Pro Max, then I say, if you are in a hurry or you really need a phone, then buy the iPhone 13 Pro Max. If you don't need a phone and you just want to spend some money, wait a bit, see what the iPhone 13 Pro Max brings us, because the leaks are more specific about the increase of the cell, and if Apple increases their battery's capacity in milliamperes, then we should expect a big jump in battery life. But let's see what happens in September, we'll know. Finally, the cameras. The iPhone 13 Pro Max, like I told you before, it's the best camera system, in my opinion, on the market. You have the Google Pixel 6, the Google Pixel 6 Pro, those are amazing cameras. You have the S21 Ultra from Samsung, which are amazing cameras. You will have the S22 Ultra, which will come around the February timeline, which will have probably the best cameras around the market in terms of hardware. But then you have the iPhone 13 Pro Max, which I told you before, it's the best video camera and the best stills, in my opinion. But the iPhone 14 Pro Max will improve this even further. Finally, Apple will bring us more and bigger hardware. Today, we have the iPhone 13 Pro Max. The iPhone 13 Pro Max features a 12 megapixel main camera. Although this camera is amazing, takes amazing shots, the iPhone 13 Pro Max will quadruple the size and the count of pixels. It will have 48 megapixels in this camera. So this means that Apple will have to use pixel binning. Pixel binning works kind of cool. It's a cool technology and makes it able so when you have low light in situations, you will use 4 pixels as one. So you will take 12 megapixel shots. But when you have a good lighting situation, an amazing lighting situation to say the least, and Apple wants to increase the resolution of their pictures, and you really want to do that, then you will be able to take 48 megapixel shots, which will make them even more crisp and with even more resolution. This is pretty cool and pretty amazing. But 48 megapixel main camera also enables another thing that is amazingly cool, which is 8K video. Yes, Apple is rumored to bring 8K video to iPhone, and in time it will probably an 8K 30 frames per second. This generation, I do not expect Apple to bring 8K at 60. If they do, that's pretty crazy, that's nuts. But I only believe that Apple will bring it 8K at 30 like they did when they first introduced the 4K system on the iPhone 6s with 4K 30. Then later in the year next, or the 2 years next, they had the 4K 60 on the iPhone 8. But I do believe that this time they will introduce 8K at 30 frames per second on the iPhone 14 Pro Max. On the other end, they will add 4K 60 for ProRes, and they will probably head to 4K 60 to cinematic mode. That will be pretty cool, and that will be pretty amazing. But expect 8K video with this iPhone 14 Pro Max's 48 megapixel main camera. Another thing that's changing is the telephoto camera. According to a lot of leakers, we should expect an even bigger and better telephoto camera, which can zoom even further, a little bit more. It's not a periscope lens that is rumored to be released in 2023, but we should expect a better telephoto camera. There's no rumors for the ultra-wide, though I do believe that Apple will probably tinker a bit in some things on the ultra-wide camera to make macro photography even better and to make the ultra-wide camera even more consistent with the main camera. So, in my opinion, what will happen to the camera system? Well, we should expect a huge jump for the camera system this year. I think that Apple now is entering an age where they want to evolve the software and the hardware so they can bring the gap between the iPhone camera and the main DSLR camera even smaller. So they are improving the video quality, they are improving the stills quality, and they are doing everything they could do with small sensors, improving technology. In this time, improving the hardware now is the biggest thing that Apple can do because their software is so good that it's kind of being limited by the small and bad hardware that they have right now on these phones, because the sensor is very small, and if they can increase the sensor size and the pixel quantity, they can improve on their camera quality too. So let's see what happens. Samsung now has a 108 megapixel camera, main camera, and that's crazy, but Apple now has a 48 megapixel camera. Let's see what Apple can do with that. Pixel 6 also has a 48 megapixel camera. Let's see what Apple can do and fight against this beast of camera too. The Google Pixel 6 is just incredible camera too. So let's see what Apple can do with this new 48 megapixel sensor, if the pixel binning works well, or if they have some problems like the S20 had when they first introduced a big sensor on their phones. And that was it. This is the differences between the iPhone 13 Pro Max, the iPhone 14 Pro Max. In my opinion, the iPhone 14 Pro Max will be a big improvement, but it won't be worth it to upgrade from the iPhone 13 Pro Max for the average user. For me, I will get it just because I get a new iPhone every year to the channel. It's the main camera that I shoot my videos. I will try to get it at a discount. But the iPhone 14 Pro Max is an amazing phone. Is a phone worth to wait for? I don't think so. I think that you should buy the iPhone 13 Pro Max right now if you want a phone. I don't think you should wait. 9 months is still a long time. And when the iPhone 13 Pro Max release, it will be only 12 months away from the iPhone 15 Pro Max. So, I mean, that's a game you have to play. 9 months is still a very good time. January, it's a very good month to buy an iPhone. And the iPhone 14 Pro Max will be an amazing phone, yes, but we have to wait, and these are still rumors. Apple has not finalized the design, not the supply chains, and not the characteristics or specs of the phone. So if you really need an iPhone, or you want an iPhone and you would want to buy the 14 Pro Max, then I mean the iPhone 13 Pro Max, it's just insanely good too. So don't wait, just buy the iPhone 13 Pro Max right now. If you really want to wait, then do, but keep in mind that it will take at least 9 months to see a new iPhone still, and all of these features that I talked about in this video are just rumors. They take it like a big grain of salt. They are just rumors, so they could end up being wrong and they could not happen. So, I mean, 8K video, bigger cameras, bigger notch, smaller notch, better display, titanium design, titanium construction, those are pretty cool features, but you have to keep in mind, those are rumors, those are leaks, those could be wrong, just like the Apple Watch Series 7 leaks were very wrong. And so let's see if Apple ends up making all these features on the iPhone 14 Pro Max, because if you wait and suddenly Apple just drops a lot of these features, and you will be disappointed and you wasted 9 months of use with your iPhone 13 Pro Max. So buy the iPhone 13 Pro Max if you really need to right now, or if you want to buy it, but wait for the iPhone 14 Pro Max if you really don't care about buying a new phone right now. If you have an iPhone 12 Pro Max, an iPhone 13 Pro Max, or even older phones, you don't need to buy the iPhone 13 Pro Max, because, I mean, don't. The differences between the jumps will be not noticeable, and wait for the iPhone 14 Pro Max if Apple releases something new. Wait to see. If you really don't like the design from the iPhone 14 Pro Max, then buy the iPhone 13 Pro Max on a discount. But that's all for you in this video, and that's all I have on the iPhone 14 Pro Max. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you leave a like in this video. I hope you subscribe and turn on the notification bell. And while you're there, don't forget to follow my social network, Twitter. I will try to be more active there and try to tweet a lot when I start releasing more videos. Go there, send me DMs, talk to me if you really want to. This is Tech Swimmer talking to you here. Bye.